I was looking at this post, which was providing examples of what can be done in 50 days. They pointed out that Napoleon was able to take back France in 50 days and basically reverse the effects of an entire war and the personal and political setbacks he was experiencing within 50 days. They said that the chance here is to bring about renewal. And that word renewal really got me. I'm someone who really takes New Year, New Me seriously, and I bring about real change at the start of months and weeks and years. It really brings me hope. I'm an optimistic person, and my memory of all previous failed attempts only incites real anger and vigor in me to do better this year. So, that word renewal is what I would like to keep in mind over the course of the next few weeks. There are many exciting opportunities that are presenting themselves to me right now, and I'd like to make the most of them. I have a lot of commitments academically, extracurricularly, and romantically. Well, not that many, not that many opportunities romantically, but there is one opportunity, and I'm going to meet him on Friday. So let's see how that goes. This opportunity in particular, the last one I mentioned, the romantic one, is making me miserable. But I have a feeling that it's not this opportunity that's making me miserable. I think the way that I have been living my life for the past few days, where I haven't been cleaning my room regularly and I've not been eating well, has made me miserable. And those periods of my life have like coincided with the lack of investment of this person. And today I went on a walk. I started going on walks whenever this person bothers me. Whenever this person doesn't text back or I find myself being hurt by their actions, I've taken to walking around. Sometimes I'll meet a friend. Often I'll, at the end of the walk, end up near somewhere where my friend lives and I'll go on a walk with her. We'll maybe go to the arcade like we did today, or we'll window shop at grocery stores, which um, is not as fun as it sounds at all. But it's really cool when you have someone next to you who is willing to smell all of Dove's deodorants one by one. So, this walking thing has really helped me, and I realized I've taken this bad thing, and every time this person hurts me or does something that gets at me, really grinds my gears, I'm doing something good for myself. And I came back from one of these walks today and I was sitting down over here. I'm going to call a friend soon, and I have plans for my evening and also plans academically for what to chart out. There's lots of things to be scared of. There's lots of emails I haven't replied to. There's an assignment I haven't even begun to consider in any real way. There's lots to be done, but I'm going to take my anxiety as a sign that there's life within me and I should be excited about it. So, please follow me on this journey and see what I make of myself. Now that I'm living on my own, I'm the one who's responsible for making sure that my living space is as clean as possible. And this means that whatever chaos or mess that is made around me, I have to be the one to intervene and impose order into this world, which is very powerful, but also means that I have to make time for these sorts of things alongside all the other commitments I have, academic or otherwise. I have taken this opportunity to decorate my space. I have pictures on my walls of who I admire. I eat what I want when I want. I study when I feel like it more than when I have to. And I can go and meet my friends or go on a walk whenever I feel like it without having to tell a single person. And this is all some very exciting stuff. But it strikes me that while I'm not lonely doing it, I am alone. Sometimes people here will tell me how brave I am for traveling so very far from home on my own. Never felt particularly brave for it, but I'm thinking maybe I should. Perhaps it doesn't seem particularly brave to be a person studying at college, but when I live on my own, feed myself, dress myself every morning in a country that I've never lived before, being someone who's never traveled before, I think it is kind of exciting, and it is interesting what I'm making of this opportunity, even if I sometimes give time to things that I shouldn't. Much of the time that I have been able to do good, it's been certain situations like time constraints or the absence of a person forcing me to discover meaning on my own, that it has pushed me to get done with the things that I know I'm supposed to get done with. Even during these moments of anguish or crisis, I've still found the completion of a task immensely gratifying on many different levels. It keeps me occupied, so I'm intellectually engaged. I don't have the mental energy to remember to be upset about certain things. It spiritually gratifies me because I see myself going down a path I can follow, a direction I do like, and becoming the person I do want to be. Not entirely sure who she is yet, but it's been exciting to figure that out. I think we tend to look at renewal as something that happens once in your life. You lose someone, life happens, and then you're forced to kind of revamp everything and start from scratch. For most people, I think this is a good thing. It's usually in the form of first heartbreak or first grief, and it really pushes them to begin to organize their lives in a manner that they can understand, to try and make sense of things. It's usually the first time they learn to enjoy their own company, to bring joy to themselves, and how to form true connections with others from a place of equality. But for a lot of people, that kind of affecting change that is brought on by calamity is just not sustainable long term because we simply don't encounter big calamities like that every day. They usually happen to us once or twice in our lives. What we do experience is what I call quiet calamity. A quiet calamity, in my mind, refers to those set of circumstances which orchestrate themselves somehow or the other into your life in a way where daily life just seems absolutely insufferable, where every aspect of monotony and mundanity is no longer beautiful, but instead somehow disturbingly reflection of futility. During such periods, time moves very strangely, but somehow also incredibly honestly, because all of those hours of your day that are spent being involved in the creation of a life suddenly reveal that perhaps the life that you are continually involved in creating is one that you may not be very interested in living. It's quietly corrosive. It's being miserable every day for some inexplicable reason that is difficult to diagnose or treat in any real capacity. And I'm not entirely certain why such a life suddenly comes about, but I do know that its arrival makes it very difficult to actually enjoy the prospect of living. But I will say this, these periods of my life are often those periods where I have stopped paying attention. Or at the very least, I'm paying attention to the wrong things, not paying attention to the grandeur of the human endeavor. There is a grandeur to the witnessing of daily life and simple pleasures. But I feel like it's only possible to really be aware of the beauty of these simple things when one has a larger and more meaningful idea about what kind of life they do want to lead, some sort of sustaining purpose that is manifested in the beauty that they encounter. I think that a reminder of that grandeur for me can be found by observing beauty. And this can be through the form of natural scenes or otherwise, but I think it really helps to direct that gaze away from oneself and then into the natural world. And it's only when you're able to look at your environment that you can place yourself within it and be in a position of not just being in a beautiful environment, but finding yourself actually a part of it. Superficial inactions can be incredibly effective in this regard, putting yourself in beautiful clothing and allowing yourself to be in interesting situations where you get to experience the joys of good food, good wine, or good company. But for me, the best antidote, the most effective, has been that of creation. To allow yourself to yield to the thrill of doing something that you're very good at. And creation for me is not just in terms of practicing one's hobbies, but also in terms of contemplation and reflection, allowing yourself to think about all those things that you worry about or that you desire, and to then just move yourself to act in accordance with them, to allow yourself to be moved by the things that you want, to allow yourself to be afraid or to long for things.
I think that's incredibly important because it is only when you're able to be swayed by such great achings and longings within your own heart that you're able to move yourself to work at them. Desire and anger and fear can serve to drive you rather than prevent you from living. It is ultimately to look at your life in all of its shades, sounds, colors, and sensations, and to decide that you're going to be hopeful in any case, and that hope is something that you can always draw on, even if it's very difficult to do so. For me, renewal isn't so much about reinvention as it is about a remembering, about a return to a state that perhaps you were only really able to access and be familiar with in childhood. That time period in your life when you had a great imagination, an imagination that made not getting your way catastrophic, and the possibility to conceive of a future where your desires are realized as intolerably exciting. And I think that as we get older, we learn to sort of shrink ourselves, our ambitions, and our expression of how we're really feeling, how hurt we are, how much we really want something, because we do not want to be mistaken for a child, because childhood was a time also of a lack of agency. But I think that we can draw on that profound imagination of childhood and marry it with the autonomy and options that we have in our present lives. And I think that when we do so, that is how we are able to bring about renewal, by imagining that things could be so much better than they are, and that actually we do have the tools to make it happen. And that is the thesis of this video. And I've actually been able to bring about renewal in my life. And I've also gotten to that state of forgetting that I brought about renewal. And this entire video, in many ways, is very full circle for me, because I started making it during a time when things weren't making sense, but I was hoping that I would be able to bring about great change, and I did. I started dressing differently and meeting new people and putting myself in all kinds of situations. But something that I think really sustained me was imagining something better. And imagining something better does not mean a lack of contentment in your current circumstances. It is a refusal to accept despair as an option for yourself and to instead aspire to a joy that you know to be possible, and to remember that that joy can be accessible and abundant if you allow yourself the opportunity to imagine a life and act in accordance in the creation of that life. Peace on life, it turns out, requires only your signature and your drawing up of the papers. So allow yourself to collect necessary documentation required for the mission, and then to bravely take quill of your ink and blood, whatever your instrument choice, and